I don't think this is gonna work because I'm streaming from my phone, like from my phone's internet. This might be a little bit of a weak connection, but I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. Della Reese, like, give me a break. Are you actually joking? Obviously, I will touch base in the market when I can. I have 3 accounts that I'm logged out of right now. Like, please be realistic right now. I'm streaming from my phone's internet. Trading View is not even opening up. Ah, okay. And MRK, there's nothing to touch up on. It stalled 85.82. That's a September swing. There's still a month out, so I would only really touch up on that if it starts coming back beneath 84. Good. Okay, sorry. Can you guys see the screen, or is it still not showing on here? That was okay. These were some of the reductions from earlier that we were trying to look at, and I'm pretty sure they're the exact same. This right here, right now, this is what I was trying to say. This was a definite reduction, so they stalled this off that 2528 by 6.75. That's probably that 7-point range that we were just talking about. This right here, do you see that? Do you guys see this? Where did they open today's real-time session? At 2.8 or something like that? 2.8. This is the real-time range, right? From open. This is the real-time opening stick. These ranges here. So do you see what they're doing here? They basically stalled. They basically stalled this from getting to the opening range as early as this 325, 330 period. I don't know if you guys see this. Do you see that? 7.25. I feel like that would have given us a decent odd of not only retesting opening range, but also retesting the high as early as this period here. I don't know if you guys can see this. The overall reduction, I believe, was 6.75 points. Can someone write this down? And that would have allowed us to get right to this 2825, which is right above today's open rate. Need you guys to see this right here. So that implies, what does that imply? Actually, I'm not going to say it. What does this imply? This reduction during this period, because we had some odds here. Other odds were super late. They were intact for the last 15. This is durational till close today. What does this imply here? Based on the range that they reduced right here. So it was 6.75 overall range was 7.5. So 6.75. $7.5. What does this imply? Yeah, so they are definitely limiting the range probably to opening ranges, but it does imply that they can take it out. There was also a tiny, tiny reduction right here when they stalled 16. This was probably the initial break. That's that 3 points to get it back to 19 and 20. Do you see this? So these are the tiny reductions they've had so far off our 19, 20 spots. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's another little reduction right here. Notice that they're starting to get a little bit smaller because this would have implied that they could have gotten it to here, right? Which if they would have gotten it to here as early as then, okay, they could have gotten it to test. That's probably why they reduced it here, because back in here they would have stalled 2.7. Do you see this? Like if they had broke as early as this, they probably would have stalled beneath 2.8, which is probably why they compressed a little bit here, made the base a little bit higher, and then broke. Does that make sense? And then if they end up giving the full range, that's where we could see a 3-point extension from this reduction back here. Okay, or the same thing that happens on the inverse that we've talked about. So this little tiny, tiny, tiny reduction here could be what would give us that little extended break above these ranges here. And that would get us back to 3.3, which I think was session open, right? Wasn't 3.3 session open? So I think we're definitely on track, but we'll have to see how they end up playing this out here. There's some odds pretty late. Okay, I'm gonna mostly focus on my stuff right now just because I don't have proper internet connection right here. Not sure if it's even working yet, but I don't want to shut this off and then have it not work and then mess up any of my positionings. I'm in calls. I bought them. I told you. Well, I already had Friday calls off 6.6 down here earlier, but I did the SPX and SPY trades from back in here. For same day. I am still in them. I didn't sell yet. Oh, those actually move pretty nicely. Oh, damn. That actually could have been a good cover the time that my freaking internet went out. That's okay, though. Let's see if they... Oh. Okay, let's start setting some alerts. I think I had these set from yesterday, so I'll just reset them. Everyone's on the same page, though, with what we're looking for here. So they already broke a 34-point range back here. Even though they came back and breached this, they still held 22 points down here. And this was the 17-point hold back here. So, and core to core days, usually you get 51 to 55 points, but I feel like this is more of like a, because we broke beneath core, this is more of the 66-point range, 68-point range, which is why we can definitely get back to here. And that was the idea for today, is they could easily take this back to 64 20s and 30s. That was my first thought this morning. And we can reset the 64, 66, 71, 74, 78 pins, which are ideal for tomorrow. So remember how I said they could make this pinnable? Pinnable is not that bad. It just means that they're staying within range, which means they still have slight odds of 64.20s, but they'd have to get right back over 64.05 just after 3, which they did. And then that'll put that pressure back on. They're splitting this into 3 parts. Do you guys understand what that means? 3 parts. Do you guys get what that means? Because we did have odds earlier today of going, we could have already been trading at these ranges had they not stalled right here. Okay, so them stalling right here was them reducing range. Everyone is aware of that. That this right here, and even this 02, 04 stall back here, these were all reductions. Everyone's aware of that. This right here too. And they're pretty big reductions, like they're not small. Okay, did we have a chance to bullish engulf today had they not stalled? What do you guys think? Did they have a chance of getting back to these 50s today? They definitely did. So they're doing this in 3 parts. What does that mean? What does 3 parts mean? If they're doing this in 3 parts. So engulfing would have accounted for them going all the way back. So we at least got 50% of the range, which is good. So we're back over 50%. Not hard to understand, seriously. 3 parts. Okay? They're not going to take it up to the 50s today. Or the 60s or 70s. They're going to do it. No. They're just breaking up the range in 3 parts. There's more pressure for the 21st, 22nd. The resets are core areas, correct? What do you need to reset? Where do you have to take it back to? 6-6, 7-1, 7-8. They're not going to do this in a single session today. If they wanted to do that, they would have broken it up earlier. So the reset's not going to happen today. Does that make sense? These are the resets back to this area here. Make sense? And we didn't close high enough those days. We didn't break high enough this day. We didn't break high enough this day. We didn't break high enough this day. Correct? They stalled 8-8. They stalled 8-4. They stalled 7-7, 6-8. So if they're going to do this in 3 parts, there's only 2 ways they could have done this. They could have taken it all the way past 3-5 and maybe gotten us the 50s, 60s. There was a slight odd they could have engulfed today and gotten us the reset today. How high was that odd? This odd right here. Not very high, right? That would have gotten us the highest odd of taking out 8-8, 10. And it would have probably gotten us the highest odd of getting the expansions on the week to maybe the channel or something. Do you guys agree? This kind of scenario here. So that was one odd. This didn't really have the highest odds because there wasn't as high of odds today. This would have also been the equivalent of doing an 88-point break, I'm pretty sure. Or like a 132-point break, a 107-point break. Do you see that? If they did something like this and got those resets. So I don't think there was super high odds of that. We definitely had some odds though for like the 50s and 60s. That would have been like a piercing kind of candle. So if they're doing this in 3 parts, which I feel like they'll do, okay, it'll look more like this. So maybe like the top of the zone, or top of the channel, upper zone area here. Okay. The 6330s, maybe 40s. 3 parts would be closing it back above here, ideally above the 20 spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then doing something like this. Does that make sense? That would be like a star reversal if they had something like that. And then maybe Friday gives us the zone retest, like back to 8-9, testing 9-6, 9-7, 0-4, 0-8. Maybe we expand and get the 20s, which was likely our max range scenarios for end of week. And then you basically fill both sides. Does that make sense? And then if that was the case, that would probably, like even up to here, you'd have your 132 point range. So I think that's what they might do. So if they really want to compress this though, could they do it in 3 parts where they stall the channel and the means tomorrow if they really don't want to reset until end of day or end of week, like on the 22nd? That's also a probability. I think the 21st had the best odds of resetting, so I wouldn't be entirely surprised to see them stall here. Okay, 10 minutes to go. They stalled this stick. This is pretty funny too, because this seemed like the areas that they could have taken it to back here. And even like this little range right here on these spots is kind of where they're starting to stall, around that 2-4 area. I don't know if you guys see that. Oh, slight overhead around 2,450. I did notice that when I was measuring this earlier, that they could stall the 2,450 spot, which they are doing. I'm gonna watch to see the last few sticks. We definitely want to pin in the core ranges here, at least like above 6420, 6422, rather than pinning around 10, 14, 08. Like those areas there would give us a lot lower odds of getting a reset this week. Conditions right now, I feel like they'd have to hold this 14, 15 area and then retract back as early as 5-3, 5-4. Otherwise, we could get stuck pinning down here, which is not ideal. So we'll see. I'm still so annoyed about that stupid internet outage. It's like worst timing. I didn't really think that they could get this, but what do you guys think? some votes on that. So not a bad stick at 5-3, 5-4 stalling a bit though. I feel like they need this at least over that 22 area. How much time is left on this stick? Not very much time. At least 2-2, 2-1. Okay, that's not bad. 21.75, that's pretty decent. That's at least bringing it back to these previous closing sticks here. So that's good. 5-5 has to be the breaking stick, and they'd have to take out this 2-4, 2-4-50, because that is that calculated overhead right here. I feel like the 55, 56 stick really have to show some sort of relative strength for this to even try triggering opening range end of day. Can you guys get some more votes, please? 40, 50 of you watching. I'm pretty sure more than 5 people can vote. I also didn't have to stream the close. I kind of rushed back home to do that for you guys. No problem. I wasn't planning on it, but well, especially with that outage. Careful on the reversals here. That's a pretty nasty stick at 5-5, especially stalling 2-4. Yeah, well, they could have done that, especially stalling 2-4. They could still try bringing it back to 22, though, into the close. I'd say if they hold off that 13-12 spot here, off 5-7, and then retrace back at least 18-19 here, then they have a chance of getting, like, an end-of-day stick like this. And then maybe give the remainder of the range for end of session. But they'd have to really push off that 5-7, 5-8 stick for that to happen. Otherwise, those neutral ranges would be in play, which obviously aren't really the best spots. So some... If they sell it off to pin the close on the reversal side, we said it was between 64.04, 64.08. Those are really not the best areas for them to pin this, because that would increase that volatility. Okay, guys, I'm going to shut this off just because I'm streaming from my phone. So they held off 11.12. That's not bad. Hopefully they can at least get this over 20.21 into the close. Okay, I'm going to shut off the stream, guys.